10 seconds.
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready to explore the world of comics, past, present, and future, with our panelists Eric Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall. And now here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to issue 22, I believe it is, holy cats, of Comic Book Spectrum, where we talk about comics because we love comics, and we hope you do too, because we've got some good stuff coming up tonight, some great reviews and some conversation. And as always, we've got thank yous because this show could not be on the air without the people supporting it, one of whom is tonight's sponsor, Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. And I know what you're saying, Brian, if this guy is so good, why isn't he on one of your covers? Well, it turns out he is. 99 cents, available now from Ben Books and Amazon. Check it out. It's a quick read crime thriller. But Jeffrey Hayes did this, and he is Plasma Fire Graphics. So when you're looking for a great book cover, a wraparound book cover, or a comic cover, or promotional material such as the trailer you just saw, Plasma Fire Graphics did their own, and they can do it for you at indie producer prices. They're very affordable. So remember them. Check out their page on Facebook and check them out on the interwebs. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. And we also want to thank other people that keep us on the air, and that's our Patreon subscribers. And we want to welcome Day One Comics to our list of supporters. Thank you so very much. It is greatly appreciated. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can support your favorite creators directly. So please check out what we have to offer you for your support at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And if that wasn't enough support, I get support from the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Long may it wave. Check out our Facebook page and please give it a like. But we've got entertainment coming to you 7 days a week, and you might learn something too. You'd never know. Later tonight, Amy Hale will be taking another week off as she's getting the second season of Creative is Hale ready. But tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time will be another episode of the fantastic Stupid O'Clock, the greatest conversation show out there, I say. And it's followed by Dan Hollifield's Last Man Standing. So please check these shows out. You'll be gratified that you did. And speaking of gratified, I think that's everybody I've got right now. So let me move on up to there, and then let's get me off the stage here, and let's unmute these wonderful people here. And I want to introduce Clyde Hall and Eric S. Hawkins and our designated emergency player here, Jody McPhee from the desk of a small press publisher. Joe, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm doing very well, being Brian Rodman light.
Start wheezing a bit.
Yes. The artist and writer of the Nebulizer. You know how method actors like Robert De Niro get into it, Christian Bale, like they modify their bodies depending on the role. Well, apparently Brian has taken this Nebulizer comic book a little too seriously.
He's working on that suit.
He's working on the suit. That's right. And all he has a feisty AI. That's his wife, Robin, who told him, you go on the show, you'll probably die. And if you do, I will kill you. But no. And thank you, Robin, for taking care of your honey like that. We want that guy well. And also a special thanks to Joe D. McPhee for being here tonight, because we when we need him, it's usually on short notice. And this guy was generous enough to come and bring his talent to the page. So please, if you like Joe, and how could you not, for the love of God, go to his page on YouTube, From the Desk of the Small Press Publisher, and please go over there and subscribe to it, because Joe should be like 40 billion followers. PewDiePie should be calling him for, you guys spare subscriptions I could borrow? So please check it out. He does great shows every 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on Saturday nights. It's always a great interview, or sometimes comic reviews or art being done. And I tell you what, since you are here, and I'm not trying to delay anything here, but this is our thank you to you. I don't have it loaded here, damn it. Hold on a second. I'm going to try something here. Now, if I don't, we're going to do this because I have you on the Daily Show. Now, colors are going to change here. And get off of there. Get off of there. Where's my director? Oh, crap, I'm him. Anyway, but no, because Joe is here, we're going to run. I have too many videos. We're going to run this, and this is for you, Joe.
Hi, I am Joe D. McPhee. I am the host of From the Desk of the Small Press Publisher. And I want to cordially invite you to watch our show Saturdays at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. On our show, we will have different guests, as well as talk about the comic book industry and pop culture. And every so often, I might actually do a drawing session or a 3D rendering session every here and there. So once again, I want to invite you to watch From the Desk of the Small Press Publisher right here on the broadcast channel that you're looking at, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Hope to see you there, and make certain that you catch From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks.
No, thank you. So anyway, please, everyone, please go over to that channel. And right now, we'll wait for you. And please subscribe to that channel, because he is so very good. And also check out his books on Comixology. Mm-hmm. So see all the promotion you're getting. Oh my gosh! Now I know why you want to be on here. So you want to take advantage of my gratitude. I don't blame you. But anyway, hope everyone's ready. And first of all, let's go around the room and let everybody introduce themselves. We'll start with Joe, then Eric, then Clyde. How's that? All right. So you just got a taste of Joe. Now get the full amount. Go, Joe. Tell everybody why you're so awesome.
Okay, I am Joe D. McPhee. I am the creator of Amazonia, Primetime Saturday Night, and AWF. And as Brian already mentioned, I do a small little show, a tiny little show called From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher, where I do interviews, comic book reviews, some draw and talk every once in a while. But this upcoming Saturday, we're doing kind of like a double episode where we're going to have Glenn B. Fleming as well as Marvy Vascolas on, and it's going to be a double episode. So it's going to be a double episode starting at 7 o'clock Central Time this time around, which would be 8 o'clock Eastern, and it will run all the way to maybe about like 11, 12 midnight on Central Standard Time, 1 o'clock Eastern. So it's going to be at least a 4.5 to 5 hour block of interview and conversation. So be looking for that this weekend, this Saturday, starting at 7 o'clock Central.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Joe. And we spent a lot of time together this last week at Heroes for Kids Con. I'm sorry.
Oh, there, yeah.
Yeah, we did. We're not talking about that other thing. But anyway, Mr. Eric S. Hawkins.
I am Eric S. Hawkins. I'm the creator of the ZOMBIEFUL World of Oz. It's usually bigger than this. This is the Ash Can. Ash Can's a smaller comic. But I'm an artist, writer, comic collector, toy collector. That's it.
Well, that's plenty. Anyway, thank you for being here, Eric. Much appreciated. And as always, the gem in our crown here, Mr. Clyde Hall.
Hi, I am Clyde Hall. I am an elder statesman of geekery. I am an independent writer, a contributing writer to Stormgate Press, and I have stories in their latest edition of Pulp Reality number 2, on sale now on Amazon. And my first B-Man story, my original character, is in Pulp Reality #1, award-winning Pulp Reality #1. Also from Stormgate Press. So you can check out all of the good materials available there on their website, www.stormgatepress.com. I'm a lifelong comic book fan. I possibly a Loki variant. The blood tests are not back yet. We don't know for sure. I have loved restoring vintage toys and classic horror movies, Fortean topics, Halloweenalia, and all sorts of pop culture things. So if you want to follow my exploits, you can do so on the Stormgate Press site, or you can follow me on Facebook under Clyde Hall, or under Radiating Positive Vibes with author Clyde Hall.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Clyde, as always. And I am your host, Brian K. Morris of Rising Tide Publications. If you'd like to sign up for my free monthly newsletter, you can check it out there at risingtide.pub, or send me your email. I will not give it to anyone else. I'm selfish like that, and I'll sign you up personally. Also, I am an author of novels, write comic books. I will be at the Money Monster Mini-Con this coming Saturday at the Davis McCann Civic Center, 15 North 14th Street in Murfreesboro, Illinois. And please join us at 2:00 because I will be interviewing Red Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Time Force, Mr. Jason Fountain. I'm really looking forward to meeting him. And please bring your questions. I will have new comics, including the new issues of the Haunting Tales of Bachelor's Grove, plus Pulp Reality and all kinds of other cool stuff. But enough about me.
Hey, what else will you have?
Oh, I was working up to that, Eric. I will also have a full set of the Zombiful World of Oz, numbers 1 through 3. Oh my gosh.
Loki variants.
There we go.
There you go.
Oh my God. I love it.
That is one of the sketch covers that'll be going out to one of the backers.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's cool. And Eric is one of those guys that when he fulfills a campaign, he really does a great job of it. And very proud of him. And I got to get my stuff because I was at the same show as Eric last night. So
it's easy that way.
Yeah, it's easier on him, and we both saved some he saved some postage. I was just happy, and it's a beautiful book, Eric. I've got to say that it is a wonderful book, but we are not here to review that book. Someone was going to, but he's currently
made him sick.
Well, no, I prefer to think of it as it took his breath away, literally. So anyway, we've got 4 comic books that came out recently. And we also, if you hear about anything you like, please go to your local comic shop and ask for a copy. If they don't have a copy, ask them to order it from their distributor, whoever it may be. And please support your comic book shop. But let's get some comments in first before we launch into this. And Brian Hawkins, greetings programs to you. And here we come. Get Reezy. Your evil twin can't spell for crap. Anyway, I don't know what Reezy would be, but we're getting it. And Damian Waldburn. Oh, first time watching live. I'm excited. Well, we'll see how you feel about an hour from now. Anyway, Damian, glad to have you here. Welcome to the Fold Roll. Damian has been doing makes toys, and he made the toy for Brian Rodman's campaign, and also for Luke Stone's recent Kickstarter. So anyway, glad to have you here, Damian. I hope you enjoy what you see and hear.
Luke just got another shipment in that he's got paint and he'll be selling. Yeah,
I saw that. That's exciting. Yeah, good for him. And hi, kids. Hi to Davies Artistry, who's going to be on tomorrow night with his wonderful wife, Christine, drinking with the Davies at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. It's going to be wonderful. Fab 4 are back. You got that right. And we're not talking about the guys that went up in space. Hello, Donna Carly. Carlene, mwah, glad to see you. And Cindy Cap, CindyKoepp.com. Check out that beautiful newsletter. Check out that beautiful books from this lovely lady. And howdy, how y'all are. We are doing great, Cindy. We're glad to have you here. And yeah, Plasma Fire Graphics rocks. They sure do. And Pop Culture Avenger, hello there. And glad you're here. And Doris Jones, Labors of Love, hello to you. Mwah. And everyone's saying hello to each other. And did you finally kill Brian Rodman? We are here as Joe's alibi. So no, we did not kill him yet. That's why you still hear the sounds of a struggle in the background. But anyway, but no, we hope you feel better soon, Brian. And let's see. And I follow Joe on YouTube, says Ted Davies Artistry. Just saying. See, and look how happy this man is. Look how freaking happy he is. And if you want to be that happy, you'll
use brand X. Use the Joe brand. It gives you a friend again and again.
It's the real thing. All right. And Willow Schuyler, mwah, so glad to see you here. And hello. And Amanda Ellifris, glad to see you here. And Ryan, will there be more than one way to watch that interview? Joe, I think is referring to what you'll be talking about on Saturday. Is that just on YouTube, or are you also broadcasting on Facebook?
On YouTube, on the company Facebook page, as well as Twitch.
There you go. He's everywhere. He's everywhere, just like Chicken Man. And Brian Rodman says, "Take my breath away." That's an old Queen song. We're gonna get demonetized. But anyway, Brian, we hope
back of a motorcycle right now with Kelly McGinnis talking, with the whole song in the background talking about "Take my breath away."
I can see that. Yeah, while Kelly's trying to kiss him and he's like trying to get to his nebulizer. And Jim Hayes, good to see you, man. Hope you're having a great night. Thank you, Ryan Permison. Oh, we get Amanda and Ryan here. This is great.
All right.
And here we go now. He bought the CBS shirt this week. Ka-ching, Eric, ka-ching. And let's see, here we go. And
I don't even get notification when someone buys something. That's crap.
Yeah, listen to this. Eric gets a sale and he's bitching about it. And Willow Schuyler finally leveled up and came over to YouTube, got lonely on Facebook. Hi, peeps. Mwah, good to see you, Willow. Check out Willow's Pillow Talk every week on the Hanging with Web Show Network. And also she's going to be doing Cryptid Crunch, I believe it is. Brand new show with Back of the Cereal Box Network, and that's going to be so exciting. And Ryan Permison read Why the Last Man Book 1 at Birthright Volumes 2 and 4 this week. Check it out. Will do. Ted Davies says, "Feel better, Rodman." And yes, the Power Ranger interview. I have no idea, actually. That will depend on my hosts, and I hope so. And Brian Rodman still feels like garbage, guys. Okay, good. I'll let you know if you make me have an attack. Get your drinks ready. Yes, we have a drinking game. Place your bets
got
now.
A drinking game. I'm not a part of it. I was the one that facilitated the creation of that game, if you guys remember.
Yeah, and Brian's still scared of us, our participation. Yes, please check out Brian Rodman on a recent episode from the Desk of a Small Press Publisher. It was fun. He knows what it's like to be me and to get heckled. But yeah, I'm drinking. Earl Grey hot. What do you think it is? Anyway, Brian Hawkins wants you to get better too, Brian, and so does Cindy Kep, and so do the rest of us. And we will flash relevant things on the screen. We will take your comments, but first, I think we ought to do some comic book reviewing. Who's up for that? Okay,
sure.
Good.
I'll go.
I was going to say your enthusiasm is infectious, people.
I'll do it.
Okay.
All right.
Eric is going to do it to you. Here
Let's
he
talk
comes.
comics.
Oh, that too. Anyway, as he braces himself there, we give the floor and the spotlight to Mr. Eric Hawkins.
Great news. Apparently, we've sold 3 shirts.
Yeah. Woo-hoo.
So, first off, while I was at Heroes for Kids, I picked up a couple things. I got Xenonite Titan.
Xenonite Titan.
I sat next to him all day too. Russell Allen. We had a good time. And if you guys know author T.L. Shively, I got a poker chip from her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love poker chips. So we're going to be reviewing the only book I bought this week, and I bought 2 issues. But I didn't buy all 15 variant covers, which they had, but
You call yourself a fan.
No, Moon Knight.
Mhm.
Moon Knight's
Hey.
back again for what I might say is volume 8, I think, actually. There's no volume listed on the inside of it, but there's been 6, 7 volumes and a legacy volume, so I'm guessing this is probably 8. I do have a complete first run of the first volume. And I've been a Moon Knight fan for years. I don't buy it all the time when it comes out, but probably the last ones I did buy were, was it Jeff Lashley? No, Jeff Lemire. Jeff Lemire that did the story with him being in the mental institution in New York and all kinds of craziness going on. I think that came out in 2016, but that was good. I got my little Moon Knight right there.
Woo!
Yay!
So we got Moon Knight #1. He was just recently featured in Avengers Age of Khonshu, which is probably, I guess, last year, a little bit early, maybe this year, which I think is on trade paperback now, where he defeated the Avengers and had to use their powers and all the stuff to defeat Khonshu. But this one starts out, this one being a #1, and there being so many volumes of this, I didn't know if it'd be a good jumping on point for people that don't really know a lot about Moon Knight. But I was pleasantly surprised. There's enough backstory in here, and it's a good jumping on point for people, because apparently after his ordeal with the Avengers, they've made him see a therapist. So Mr. Knight, when he dresses up in the suit, has to go see a therapist and talk about himself, which is a good way for him to describe how he got his powers, how he became Moon Knight, the different times he's died and come back alive, and which was kind of cool. I was like, how are they going to do this? And hey, a therapist just pulls it right out of you.
That's cool.
But it's you got vampires in it. You got some vermin, which I've always liked vermin ever since Kraven's Last Hunt. But you got multiple vermin in this one, which is really cool. And I kind of a surprise at the end because Mark Spector is not really in good graces with Khonshu anymore after what happened in the Age of Khonshu. Now, I'll tell you right off, this is not my favorite Moon Knight in the suit, but it works in here because he has the Midnight Mission, where people come to the Midnight Mission when they got a problem. Then he goes out dressed as Moon Knight, the regular Moon Knight, which is a little more, it's a little tricky, because if you look at the covers I got, it's more of a classic Moon Knight, the uniform, but throughout the book, it's more of the ultimates, or the ultimate Moon Knight, where it's a white chest piece and the rest of it's black and some armor on it. Which I wasn't a big fan of it as much, but they do a good job of it in here.
Oh, that's nice.
So I don't mind. And the artwork was great. It is by, I don't know if this guy did any of the covers, actually, because McNiven did this cover. But it is written by Jed McKay, and the artist is Alessandro Capuccio. Then the colorist is Rochelle Rosenberg, and letter is VC's Corey Petit. But like I said, there's 15 covers. And it starts off, he's tracking down these vampires because someone came to the Midnight Mission and needed some help. He defeats these vampires, but there's a bunch of little young vampires in the back of the van that were just turned. They're not young kids, but they're newly turned vampires. And he tells the therapist he didn't kill them, but I'm pretty sure he did, because they were begging for their lives. They didn't want to be killed because it wasn't their fault. It just kind of happened. So he goes on. He's telling the therapist. They go back and forth about him being Moon Knight, how that happened, and things like that. Then someone else comes to the Midnight Mission later, needs some help with vermin. He goes and dispatches with the vermin. He even mentions how vermin is one of Spider-Man's villains. I know you're one of Spider-Man's villains. And all kinds of vermin, because vermin apparently doesn't like to be alone. And then some of the art is just really cool. The way they draw his cape when he's soaring through the air, you get the little crescent moon there.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I would guess, I think this is a new character in the end of the book because I don't recall him at all. But he looks like he's going to be pretty cool. I did see a preview image of him in full costume as well, and he is Hunter's Moon. And he's a faithful follower of Khonshu. And he tells Khonshu, your right hand has failed you, but your left hand will not.
Nice.
So he runs into Mark, or whatever you want to call him these days, depending on his name. And he tells him that, you need to be a little more faithful to Khonshu. I know you're not in good graces with Khonshu anymore, but then apparently there's only one other person between Hunter's Moon and Khonshu in the hierarchy of the followers of Khonshu, and it's not Moon Knight. He tells him. I think the book's going to be pretty good. I look forward to more issues coming out because I want to see more of Hunter's Moon dressed up as kind of like a black suited Moon Knight with a full moon on his chest and stuff, and he looks pretty stylish when he's not in costume here. When he's talking to Mark out in the, this was kind of weird. This scene here makes me wonder if he's still in his own little crazy head because he's out in a park looking like that, talking to his therapist out in the park. So I'm wondering if there's still some mental issues. Well, there's always mental issues with Moon Knight. I don't know if there's something else going on in his head where he's just lost up there again. Oh, where is he? Oh, yeah, this guy right here. I mean, he comes in and defeats 8-Ball here, which, I mean, yeah, anyone could probably defeat 8-Ball. But, I mean, he looks pretty stylish. He's got a vest. He's got his tie going, little round glasses. It looks pretty cool. I can't wait to see him dress up as a Hunter's Moon and be the left hand of Khonshu. Being a Moon Knight fan and being kind of biased, I would give it a 10, but in reality, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. And that's basically my review.
Very cool. All right. Sure sounds good though.
Not at all.
Yeah.
That's 2.
That was the first new issue I read this week because I wanted to get the preview before your review. And
cool.
you hit the high
I've
point.
just always loved Moon Knight, and like I said, I haven't always collected all the comics because some of them haven't been good, and I mean they obviously don't. There's a lot of Moon Knight fans out there, but I don't think a lot of people buy Moon Knight when it comes out because it only lasts for a couple of years and trails off, and they have to relaunch it again. So I'm looking forward to this. I hope it lasts a while. But I'll give it probably about 13 issues, 14 before they'll probably cancel it in a couple more years. Another one will come out. Not because it's not good. It's just I think they should have waited closer to the TV series coming out next year to launch this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Well, knowing Marvel's track record with stuff like this, it probably won't even last 7 issues.
Don't say that, Brian.
No. And then they'll launch like another one, like
How
Moon Knight
dare
Returns. But no, it's one thing. I think a lot of people see him as kind of like Batman light.
But sometimes
but he's got some.
superpowers.
He's got some. He's got superpowers.
They come and go.
whole
Sometimes
thing
they
with
ride him with them. Sometimes they don't. And I'll tell you, I saw a great meme about Batman this week.
Okay.
Batman.
Uh-oh.
Way to sell it.
Hold on.
He's Rodman himself. Look at this. It's so funny. He's choking
Batman
himself
has the same powers as people that cosplay as him. None.
Ouch. Oh my God, that's funny.
Hey, at least Mark Spector knows he's nuts. Batman won't admit it.
That's true. That's true. But that's the one thing I don't like. I've read Moon Knight sporadically over the years, but they just don't play up that angle. I think that's what really makes him unique more than the moon-fed, superpowers.
Yeah, the Lemire storyline from 2016 was really good with him in a mental institution and imagining Khonshu and the guards being actual followers of Khonshu and not really guards, and it was really good story. Look it up, see if you can find a trade paperback form. It was pretty good. I like it a lot.
I'll definitely look for that in hoopla.com. So thank you, Eric. You're awesome. All right. And a couple comments here. John Celestri goes, hey, all you guys. Hey, John, how you doing? I am clearly seeing Joe D. McPhee. You get a new camera, Joe?
No, lighting.
All right. Lighting is key. That's one of the first things they say in StreamYard is light yourself up.
My normal lighting for this room is not working correctly, so I have to use an alternate source, and it's brighter.
I like it. I like
That's
the look.
good.
Yeah. And Willow Skyler says Cryptic Crunch will be on Sunday evening, August 1st, and they'll be talking about lake monsters. Yes, they're going to be touching on Swamp Thing. And Swamp Thing will be pointing to a doll in about a week. Anyway, not that kind of touching. And Carl Wisman, hello to you. And Brian Hawkins bought 3 books this week, and 2 of them were Moon Knight, and loves me some Moon Knight, says Nicholas Anthony Tockard from the who has his own show Friday nights, the Historical Fencing Guild on YouTube and on Facebook. Please check it out. It's very entertaining. And Jim Haas says, I need to let my daughter know she loves Moon Knight, and was upset when I guess Volume 7 ended. Well, understand that, and loves the round glasses. And I see Moonlight often written like Deadpool, written more reasonably. Yeah. That's true. And Carl Westman says, nice to see Joe working. Hope you guys didn't kill off Mr. Rodman, though. The night is young. Anyway, no, Brian provides so much amusement. We want to keep him around. He is ours. So
he's tied up in the basement.
Play their game without Mr. Rodman.
Yeah, he's in the basement. It saves him $20. What can I say? The man is thrifty. So who would like to go next? Clyde Hall said he would like to go next. I could see it in his eyes and his hand.
Because Eric started with mental instability in his comic, and I'm going to continue the trend.
Then it's going to be Joe, then me. I can see where this yes, here we go. We are definitely giving you the screen for this. Tell us what you're reading, Clyde.
Aftershock Comics, Bunny Mask #2. This is, after reading the first issue, I thought, this is crazy. And I didn't think I could do it justice after the first issue to review it. So I waited for the second issue to come out. They tried to bend it out of existence. As you can see, I got a nice crease here. But I didn't care. I got it anyway so I could read it because, I was driven by the first issue. That was how good it was to learn more about this series. And I'll show you. Let's very quickly run down here what it entails. The specs. We have Aftershock Comics, Bunny Mask #2, $4.99 cover price, written by Paul Tobin, illustrated by Andrea Mutte, lettered by Taylor Esposito. It is rated mature. And to give you a view here of some of the artwork, I love this cover. It is eerily effective for the kind of a series this is. Aftershock, and as you know, if you've watched the show much, you know, Aftershock's horror titles have been doing it for me here this summer. Exception. It is different than many of their other horror titles, though. That's the thing, is every horror title has distinct personality. I could draw some parallels, but overall, they have a very good tone of their own. And if you recognize the art, Andrea Mutte is the same artist that worked on Aftershock's Maniac of New York. And it levels up in the same way of astonishingly real, beautiful, disarmingly beautiful, everyday life, followed by horrific scenes of terror and horror that just come out of the blue. Shock value in issue 1 especially of those kind of scenes was very effective, I thought. I think that Mutte has a really, really good talent with these kind of horror titles where
frozen.
Okay, I was wondering if it was me. Clyde?
Clyde, wake up. Don't go into the light.
Are you still with me,
Okay,
guys?
no, keep that. No, okay, you're
There you go.
back now. You're back. Yeah, you froze up. I was almost done with that 2-page spread reading it. I got it by the book.
Here you go.
All right, thank you. Okay, I'm
Yes. Okay. So let's get into what makes this one of my favorite reads of this week. Moon Knight, notwithstanding, Moon Knight was very good. I really felt he came into his own, Eric. He was not a bargain basement. Bunny mask. The spirit.
Is he freezing on your sides
Runs
too,
from
guys?
action.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
He is.
Okay. Clyde, you are. You might be having
He's
weak
unfrozen
internet.
now.
Okay, yeah. I guess we have to summon him.
Okay. Are you with me?
Yes. Yeah. You're back again. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. We'll start
will-
again because I can
Okay.
tell you. Yeah, you're a little more in focus now. I think your local internet might be misbehaving. So plow through it, sir. Plow through it.
okay.
Or freeze. Okay. Clyde, here's a suggestion. If you can hear me, get completely out of StreamYard, then come back in through the link. And then we'll this will be like a cliffhanger. Let's see if we can. Yeah. Fortunately, he's very telegenic, so it's okay to look at him. So yes, Clyde, drop out of StreamYard if you can, and then come back in completely. Joe, would you like to go next then while we're waiting for Clyde?
Oh, might as well here. When I'm not up here writing beautiful female comic book characters or reviewing their type of books, like Amazonia here, I do partake in comics here. So what I got for you guys today is a Brian Michael Bendis book, which I'm kind of almost like not so happy of reading it because I was interested in this group, just to see if it's going to go back to the old school version of it or if it's going to try to tell a new tale. And I got what I could say not my money's worth out of it. And that book, it happens to be the first issue of Checkmate. And this version of Checkmate is a 6-issue miniseries here. And it's written by Brian Michael Bendis. The artist is Alex Molavy, and the colors are done by David Stewart. Now, the cool thing about this is that Checkmate is actually coming back in some type of form here, but how it came back and how the story is being told bewilders the mind here. So let's start into what actually happens here. It starts with a flashback. And a flashback to a conversation between the third Manhunter, which happens to be Mark Shaw, and Talia al Ghul. And this is at one of the sites where the League of Assassins used to be at. And they, Mark actually comes to look for Talia, and they had like a very vague discussion about a possible partnership in something. And we never truly get what they were talking about. It just, in those 2 pages, there's like, okay, what do you want? What can I do for you? We don't know what was agreed upon, if anything was agreed upon. Then it flashed forward a couple of weeks. And it turns out that this new group called the Leviathan had a craft that crash landed in the middle of nowhere. And Damian shows up. And we talked about Damian Wayne, the new Robin, shows up. So he's looking for information and everything. And then all of a sudden, we find Talia. And Damian started to question Talia about her involvement with Mark. And before she could really give kind of like an answer to that, members of the Leviathan can't come in to try to recover the aircraft. So they kind of like go into hiding a little bit just to overhear everything. And then all of a sudden you see in this top panel here that they make mention about screw checkmate. And we're up here, it's like, well, wait a second. If you've been following everything in the DC universe, there is no more checkmate according to, you know, where they're at in Infinite Frontier and the way they restructured the DC universe. What are they talking about? So they started listening more to what the members of the Leviathan was saying about, you know, as they was trying to recover the craft. They get into the cockpit to hide out, and they would start talking some more about it. And once it was all said and done, they did what they needed to do, and they teleported themselves and that aircraft out of there. So we don't know how this version of Checkmate came about other than a short little snippet here, which I hated. And in a short little snippet, it literally says that Mark Shaw pretty much created the group Leviathan to take over all the other known agencies, such as like the DEO and everything, DEO, Argus, Spiral, Cobra, and formed one mega corporation. I shouldn't say corporation, but one mega organization called Leviathan. Now, because there's lack of trust with Mark Shaw, some of the detectives in the DC universe came together to form the new Checkmate. So that would lead to the next set of pages here, where we have Steve Trevor, out of all people, coming into this monastery and everything to a secret meeting of the new Checkmate. So the new Checkmate, as we know it as of right now, which is Kate Spencer, who happens to be the 8th Manhunter. You have Oliver Queen as Green Arrow. I'm not sure which question that they have there. I'm not sure if that's Montoya or the original question.
I think it's supposed to be the Vic Sage.
Okay.
I think, because I've been reading it too. So
okay. Then you had Dr. Bones there, Steve Trevor, and Lois Lane, and the King. The question here is this the original King from the very first version of Checkmate or not? They kind of leave that question out, because in the conversation, Lois Lane questioned how old he was, meaning that she's kind of questioning what his overall motivation is dealing with this group. Now, she kind of sensed that he knows a lot more than what he lets on, but again, does not get resolved. And then all of a sudden we go back a few more weeks, back to the incident about the whole disappearance of that Leviathan aircraft. Now we see Mark Shaw with Damien and Talia being captured up under his control, and he goes in kind of like this whole questioning thing where he was saying that he's kind of upset at Talia, as if Talia was about to get ready to renege on something, but yet he turns his attention to Damien to try to get Damien to turn on his mother. But before that, they was up here trying to figure out, is Checkmate tracking him? And then we see Agent Nakamura, who was a part of the latest, which means the one prior to this Checkmate, who happened to come in to try to figure out if the new Checkmate people know it was tracking them, and if they were, could it be reverse engineered to find out where their secret base is at. So after that interruption, Mark Shaw concentrated on getting information out of Damien, trying to play Damien against Talia. And then as he was doing that, Talia kind of gives the hint that all of this was about a stolen birthright. And Mark Shaw then realized Talia was not talking about the League of Assassins. She was talking about the Batcave. And there is a big significance if you've been reading Infinite Frontier about the Batcave and some of the stuff that's there and some of the technology that's there. It became a good plot point. But again, nothing gets resolved because why? We get the flash forward back to modern day present, back to Lois Lane. So now Lois Lane is back at the Daily Planet. She just gained over dealing with the death of her dad. And then all of a sudden, one of her former colleagues comes in and say, hey, this was delivered for you. It was a small little package and everything. She gives her condolences, and then she allows Lois to know that the package was from Mark Shaw, and that it's a personal invitation to see exactly what he has planned. And before she could get any pertinent information, because it's like she really started talking about, Mark Shaw was a fan of her father's. It's like, he has a major plan in the works. Everything that, her father worked for, it will come to fruition. And it would be kind of like his lasting statement, or his, part of, could be, looked at as, his lasting legacy and everything. And then she teleports away before she could get any real information out of it. So then she opened up the small box, and it looks like it's like a teleportation device there, or some type of small teleportation device here. And she's kind of like looking at it, and she moves over towards the window. And then as she's looking out the window, she holds up the device. Now we see that somebody's looking at her, but they're looking at her in a sniper's position, and it ends there. Overall, I truly think that when it comes to Brian Michael Bendis writing a series, it's either feast or famine. So far, I feel this is famine. Why? Because it jumped time frames too much and did not establish anything concrete to make you want to invest in the story. I mean, it was told, it just too many open holes for too many characters. It's like, we don't know what Mark Shaw, the third Manhunter, really wanted. We don't know what Talia's involvement truly is. We don't know where the Batcave, why the Batcave is significant, why the disappearance of Steve Trevor and Bones, in that whole conversation dealing with, I forgot to bring that up. Yeah, Steve Trevor is now missing. Dr. Bones is missing when Lois got that package. So we don't know why they are missing, and why, Checkmate is so splintered as of right now. And we don't understand why would Mark Shaw invite Lois Lane to whatever he's going to transfer her over to. There's no direction in this story to make me want to invest in issue 2, to be quite honest. It's just like, you have to kind of like, do I really want to see where all of these different avenues lead to, or did he give us a lot of red herrings? With that being stated here, I have to give this book like a 6 out of 10. I mean, it's not a bad book. Art-wise, it looks great, but storytelling-wise, he's kind of all over the place. He didn't bring it back to like a centralized theme as of yet. Only thing we know is Mark Shaw is up to something. We don't know what it is. And the way that he's going about it is like too many loose ends to keep track of, and too many characters that's like in and out of the picture, that is like, do we really need to follow what's going on with Steve Trevor, because Steve Trevor was the one that came to the base and all this other stuff? Do we need to figure out who King really is, since Lois made a big deal about who he was? Do we really need to keep track of what happened with Talia after she got captured? There's no direction whatsoever here. But that's kind of typical for one of Brian Michael Bendis' famine books here, as opposed to the good stories that you feast upon. So that's pretty much my review of Checkmate #1 here. And I'm thinking, I might end up getting 2 just to see if that direction gets narrowed some way, in some form or some fashion.
Very good. Very good. Well, it's like I read, very well done, Joe. But I remember reading Project Leviathan, and I was very disappointed. Here comes Mark Shaw out of left field. Now, is he a Manhunter clone, or is he possibly the original who was supposed to have been killed back in Detective? And my guess for the King is King Faraday. Because Bendis, like a lot of modern writers, like to pull characters from one obscure story from the 50s or 60s, and I think he was from Showcase or whatever. But they brought King Faraday back in the past, and I wonder if this is some iteration of him. But yeah, I was really disappointed in Project Leviathan, the precursor to this, because it's like, okay, all these threads are coming together, some good reasoning why certain characters were selected, although I don't think of Green Arrow as a detective, but Lois Lane's inclusion I thought was good.
That was below the zone, because you have to think about it. A reporter can find out just about anything. And then it's like Kate being a Manhunter, that made sense. Green Arrow, it's like, okay, you're going to have somebody big name that is recognizable to be the forefront. The one that, unlike Lois Lane, so than anything else, is Steve Trevor. Why is Steve Trevor there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had the same problem when I read that too. I agree. The art is nice. The art is very, very well done.
And I almost had picked it up, and I didn't, because I was like, oh, this looks cool. Then Brian wasn't really impressed with it that week. It was all, well, I'm glad I didn't get it.
See, we save you money on this.
But sometimes a second issue does turn things around. Sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do. Yeah. So get a second issue, see if you like it.
Yeah.
But that's the bad thing about comics, because the issue #1 is supposed to help turn people.
Yeah, it's supposed to grab onto you. Yeah,
and it did it. It did it. It just had too many loose ends to make you grab onto any type of mystery behind.
I fully agree. And we've got some comments here that we have generated here. And Damian Waldron goes, I could have been there if I wanted. Well, the thing is, and I have seen no evidence that Clyde is back. I think his internet went out.
I think what they said in the chats, he was pruned.
That must be it. Oh,
TVA got him.
Yep. See, where we go. All right. Nice knowing you, Clyde. Anyway, so we'll be putting your applications. We're going to have to replace Clyde, apparently. But
he's the one that said he was a variant. I shouldn't have said that.
Oh my God! Now he's in a Mylar bag. Oh God, he's going to get slabbed, and not that way. But anyway, but Damien, I think what we may need to do is have a backup for each and every one of us on here. And Amanda Elliford says Steve Trevor loved Wonder Woman. We all do. And Damien Waldburn goes, my mother is a saint. Yeah, so is mine. She raised me. And see, all the questions make Amanda want to read the next issue of Checkmate, which different strokes for different folks. That's why we have this show.
It's not a bad issue. It's just, for me, storytelling wise, it's too many questions.
Yeah,
there's no direction on it. It's like I see so many red herrings.
Yeah,
in this issue that it doesn't make me want to pursue any of those questions.
Years ago when Paul Levitz, the former DC publisher, was writing Legion of Superheroes, I saw a picture he had taken he kept a whiteboard, and he had his next year or so of the Legion of Superheroes mapped out when he was writing it. And he'd have an A plot that in that specific issue that would be dealt with. Then he had a B and a C plot. Then the next issue, he'd move the B plot up into the A, then the C up into the B, and then create a new subplot. And that way you explore the world of the 31st century in this case, and you are taking care of one mystery and leading to another, rather than, like you said, Joe, this melange of mystery. and no apparent clues in sight. So
at least you didn't have to go to the website to find out what the story was about.
Good point, Eric. Good point. And Cindy Cap says, I'm not a fan of stories that bounce around a lot. Then avoid the first year of the Legion of Superheroes, the current edition. It is. We were talking about that before the show. I can read just about anything. I have fairly decent retention, believe it or not, especially for my age. But it's like I can't make head nor tail out of that thing, and that's another Brian Michael Bendis book.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Nicholas Anthony Tucker of the Historical Fencing Guild says questionable mainstream comics just support indie fans. Dudes, Jody McPhee is right there as a replacement. There we go. Don't be saying that too loud. He's going to come to expect it. No, he will be back with issue 30, if not sooner. I promise. I made him a promise. And Carl Weston said that would drive me crazy, plus all of the characters at once. And plus, Joe, refresh my memory, but there was no real introduction for any of them. I still think editorially, because I do editorial work for some indie comics on the side, like the most excellent Zombieful World of Oz. Thank you. Available now, and I'll have them this Saturday in Murfreesboro. But anyway, no. Every issue is someone's first, and I tend to read comics from a point of view of that. Now, Eric does a great job of introducing characters, so you know what they're about. Whereas this one is like, hey, here's Lois Lane. Yeah, you know who Lois Lane is, but yeah, here's Green Arrow. You might be familiar with him. Here's Kate Spencer. You know, and unless you were reading like the previous iterations of Manhunter, you have no clue as to who, you know, not only who is Kate, but who is Manhunter. You know, so that's not really great. And hey, Teresa, how you doing? Mwah, good to see you. We were complaining about some comic books. Anyway, so well done, Joe. Well done, sir. Thank you so much. And Nicholas Anthony Tucker continues, the rotating ABC plot switching sounds very J. Michael Straczynski. Yeah. Sorry for the lagging commentary as I am running tests for a secret game design commission. You keep up the good work, young man. Yeah, I think I have a clue as to who it may be. Anyway,
not me, though I do have many thoughts of a Zombieful World of Oz RPG.
Nick, I've been known to pimp for Nick. Nick! So I may even have a bit of culpability in this other project, too. You see, that's the thing Eric has found. I don't pay, but I get you other work that does. So anyway. So I kind of make up for it, you know. I blame Cookie. She has nothing to do with it, but I blame her anyway. But anyway, thank you, Joe. And again, no sign of Clyde. Clyde, we hope you are okay, my man. But anyway, I think storms might be coming up, aren't they?
If you're in my neck of the woods, they're talking about sporadic storms already. They're up there talking about it's supposed to be raining right now, but it hasn't came down as of yet.
Yeah. And Nick Tucker says, for current projects, see me and say September. It's a date, young man. It's a date. I promise. Well, while we're waiting for Clyde, I guess I'll go.
He hasn't messaged us or anything.
No, he hasn't, and I do have a window open. Okay, I think he finally. No, it's you. I did put something in the. We share a thing. I looked at her. I thought I got excited. It's like, oh, Clyde's checking in, and it's like, no, it's Eric's icon. So. I'm a man with a heart condition. Don't do this to me. But anyway, how about I review some books?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Hear what you got.
Okay.
Better be good.
Yes, sir. Oh my God, the pressure is on. Anyway, folks, I get a lot of crap for reading, and wanting to review nothing but DC. Well, you know what? I've been leering in the face of your expectations for weeks now, and so what I bought this week was issue 2 of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And Superman Red and Blue, both of which I do recommend, and also not all DC, but the Creeps. And this, by the way, folks, is the final issue of the Creeps. It will continue in 2 months as I forgot the name already. Shudder. Ooh. But Countess Vampirella. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I that obvious? Anyway, it will continue under the same name, but it will start again as Shudder. in 2 months. So be sure your favorite comic monger knows what you want. So to put the lie to the fact that I only reviewed. Oh, who am I kidding? Let's talk about Superman and the Authority. Screw it. Anyway, I was looking forward to this a whole lot. One, it's Grant Morrison. And I will say that Grant Morrison has got a handle on Superman. If you have not read All-Star Superman yet, please get it. It is one of the best Superman stories ever. And
is it as good as All-Star Batman?
At least I can leave All-Star Superman on the coffee table. So there is that. But anyway, no, Superman and the Authority. You know who Superman is, and the Authority has its origins in the Wildstorm days before DC bought them out. It was Jim Lee's arm of the original Image universe. And the Authority was a kind of like an analog to like most superhero teams like the Avengers or the Justice League, except these guys are what you call bastards. They are doing all the wrong things for all the right reasons. And since the New 52, they've been kind of incorporated into the mainstream universe. Well, this thing won me over on the first page. It starts out in November of 1963. All right. And in the start, Superman is talking to John F. Kennedy. All right, they're walking through the White House, and you see there's a picture of the Justice Society of America there. And Jack Kennedy is talking about what they tried to do during the war years, but now there's a new war coming up with the Russians. And Jack Kennedy says, I want to galvanize America. I want to get a man on the moon by the end of the decade. Without your help, Superman. I want us to get us up there. And Superman goes, that's great. Oh, by the way, would you like me to show up in Dallas next week? And he's like, no, you don't need to. I'll be fine. So,
but don't leave us in suspense. What happened?
Yeah, I know. Brian, stop your damn dramatic pauses. No, I stutter. But anyway, and that's nice artwork there. He really caught not just Superman, but Jack Kennedy too. And then there's a scene right here as the astronauts are playing on the Earth, and there's Superman applauding them appreciatively. And that was in 1963. Now we come to the present. And if you don't know who this guy is in the corner right-hand side of your screen, that's Manchester Black, who was in one of the best Superman stories of the 90s. In Action Comics, he's a mentalist. Who is not at all nice. And he actually worked with the Justice League for a very short time during the 90s when Justice League had like 400 books, unlike now. But anyway, soldiers are coming to get him, and they're all like, well, put on your psychic shields and everything, your devices. And there's a nice scene here where the guy in charge of the SWAT team trying to get Manchester says, well, say the word and we'll go in. And he goes, the word. Turns out that he's so powerful a mentalist, they can't hold him back. Their protection isn't. But it takes a helicopter with machine gun fire to take out Manchester Black, who is then rescued by a certain someone who falls out of the skies and says, I'll take over now, gentlemen, ladies, others. And Manchester Black wakes up in the Fortress of Solitude, being repaired by Superman. And they have like their usual disagreement, much of which I can't read on the air. It's not really bad language, except for there's some things brought up that I think somebody can explain to your kids, and it won't be me. But there was a funny line about, Manchester's in this wheelchair, and you've got me lined up as the disabled professor of your new team of mentally ill super dicks. Is that it? And it's great dialogue. And Superman tells him, no, I sent some robots over into the Phantom Zone. They got corrupted. They're going to be back in about 12 minutes. And it turns out Superman's powers are now fading. He can hover only just because he stays in practice. And he needs a team of people to replace what he can do. And this is Manchester's test. And that's all we're going to tell you about it, but it ends on a high note. And it's by Grant Morrison. Like I said, if you've read All-Star Superman, if you read a great couple years of Batman, or Batman and Robin, and Batman Incorporated, or the first 3 volumes of Wonder Woman Year One, Morrison, I used to run hot and cold on him. He also did the Doom Patrol that you see a lot in the TV series now. Yes. But Grant Morrison could fall in love with his concepts. He's a high concept kind of guy, like Neil Gaiman or Alan Moore. But whereas they don't sacrifice the plot, Grant sometimes does, just to give you all the permutations of his cleverness. But then I read his autobiography, Super Gods, where he talks about his creative process, and I really grew to understand him. Now, as it is, this is a good read. This is really exciting, and it ends on a note that makes me want to pick up the next issue. This is how comic writing should be. He captures the spirit of Superman very well, and just the fact that he starts it in 1963, and Superman and the President Kennedy did have a couple interactions back then, so this was kind of like a kiss across the decades. But anyway, the art is really good. It's by Mikhail Janin. And let me get to the credits here. Yes, here we go. And the credits are about halfway through the comic. Grant Morrison wrote it. Mikhail Janin drew it. Jordi Bellaire was the very, very good colorist. Really does a lot to set the scenes and to separate the environment using very good color. Steve Wands was the letterer. Brian Hitch and Alex Sinclair did the variant cover, as did Jen Bartel did one, and Diego Lopez was the associate editor, and Jamie S. Rich was the editor. So this is going to be a 4-issue mini-series. It is rated 13 plus, and it's $4.99. And I'm on board if it's as good as this first issue, I'm on board for the whole ride. And it's not just because I'm a Superman fan; it's because I'm a fan of good writing and good art. So I definitely give this. I usually take off a half a point because I have to wait. And if it's really good, I feel impatient. I'm taking off half a point. It's 9.5 out of 10. And I'm really looking forward to the next issue. And I may review these at a later date, but I also do recommend these both also. They're very, very good. Particularly the Superman Red and Blue. They had had issues. Issue 2 wasn't exactly great, but it's coming back now. And there's some people in here, including the current writer of Superman, who it turns out draws. And we get a story by Judd Winnick, who we haven't seen in a long, long time. The guy that wrote a lot of the Kyle Rayner stories back in the day. G. Willow Wilson, Chris Sprouse, Carl Story, Joshua Williamson, who, Joe, I think he's doing Infinite Frontier, I think. And a story by Mark Buckingham of Fables fame, but and with an Amanda Conner cover. But we may review those in future weeks. It all depends on what they publish next week.
I think Grant Morrison does better writing the DC characters than he does the Marvel characters.
Yeah. I read his X-Men.
I wouldn't say that.
I wasn't a fan of his X-Men work. I mean, I love the X-Men, but that's kind of when I dropped off X-Men, was when he was writing it.
You have to think about the legacy of X-Men.
Yeah.
He brought something to the table for X-Men that nobody else could write at Marvel.
Yeah.
It wasn't the fact that what he did was wrong, because again, I was Grant Morrison's greatest critic when it came to X-Men. I hated his X-Men stuff when it first came out. Now I have an appreciation for it because I understood what he was trying to do, despite the fact that I knew that nobody else could write behind him.
Yeah.
Oh, I might have to go back and read them because I do have them still.
Right. I mean,
I kept collecting X-Men and stopped reading it. I just every week I'd get it in my bag, put it in a box. So I have a lot of them still. Yeah.
It was a beautiful thing because he literally explained a lot of the powers and why the powers work. He explained Nightcrawler's Banff to a degree where it's like, you don't want Nightcrawler Banffing anymore. It caused psychological damage to him. because everybody think it was just straight line teleportation. It's like, no, he's leaping dimensions. He's leaving our dimension to go to this other dimension, which he has to fight off everything in that dimension to come back to where point he wants. And it's like he wrote stories about the nightmares that Nightcrawler had by doing a bath. That's the reason why he don't like doing it. And when he does it, it's out of necessity.
Yep. And then it was also explained like the sulfurous smell that accompanied the bamfing too.
Yeah,
I did like
for that dimension that he was at.
Yeah, it's like he opened the door and the bad whiff came in. But I also like
it wasn't just eggs, no.
Oh no! It wasn't a bad lunch either. But no, I also like the one thing he did where he explained that Weapon X, Wolverine, wasn't really Weapon X. It was Roman numeral X. 10. He was the 10th attempt at this sort of thing, and I thought, now that's a great concept that doesn't get explored often enough. So that, there were some touches in that. But like I said, if you ever actually, Eric, if anyone hasn't read Super Gods yet, it's a far more entertaining read than I thought it would be. It explains him and his own process very, very well. Well, of course, he better. It's his damn process. And I actually got a little bit more appreciation for his writing then too, because I remember reading Doom Patrol and not really appreciating it, especially when they revealed that Niles Calder, the chief, was actually the architect of the accidents that created the original Doom Patrol. And I'm like, oh my God, that is, that's an attempt to do like Alan Moore's anatomy lesson for Swamp Thing, where he turned the whole thing around on Swamp Thing. But in my head, it just didn't quite work because, either Niles Calder is the world's greatest actor and doesn't break character for 25 years, or this is coming out of left field. But after reading Super Gods, I still have a few reservations, but there are a lot fewer now that I understand how Morrison's mind works. So if you can get past a lot of him being a sorcerer, him taking a crap ton of drugs, and various things like if you work past that, it's golden. So
it's probably one of the reasons why the John Byrne version of Doom Patrol fell on his face when he did his reveal of Niles Calder.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like night and day difference.
Yeah, and it's almost like kind of like what I'm getting with Infinite Frontier. It's like one person taking it upon themselves to wrestle the continuity back into order. That John was trying to. I think he was trying to pull the Doom Patrol back to the Arnold Drake or Paul Kupperberg versions, which were a lot more mainstream, which is fine. It's.
But that was the weird thing. He tried to do it without General Immortus or the actual Brotherhood of Evil. He almost did it without using them, which I found kind of trippy.
Yeah. That's true, he did. Yeah, and they had such great villains back in the original Doom Patrol, and like I said, the revival. I remember when the Doom Patrol #1 came out by Paul Kupperberg and Steve Lytle. I thought, man, this is about as good as comics ever get. There's a great story.
Remember what was it? My Greatest Adventures number 57. That was the very first Doom Patrol issue. If my issue numbers are correct.
That was the first issue of Doom Patrol, but it was previously My Greatest Adventures before then, and they had like about a half dozen issues or so. But we're
right up under my
potato.
Before it became Doom Patrol.
right. But yeah. So
I want to address the Brian Rodman comic because I want to go like.
We'll get through the comments. And Carl Witzman says storms are just climbing up at the state of Illinois. It's coming here soon, which means I'll probably get about a half hour later. Nicholas Anthony Tucker says DC Marvel ruins storylines by forcing crossover research. Yeah. What happened to the editor's notes? That's what I want to know. Actually, what is it? Crime Syndicate do the best editor's notes. A series that I credit Joe D. McPhee to turning me on to that. It is great, but they have like comics that were apparently published on Earth 3, or they thought about it, but they're not going to do it now, sort of thing. They're actually worth reading just for that. And is that a bait and switch? Could be. It could be. And Gecko says it is good. It is good to have you here, Ninja. Thank you for tuning in. And Wildstorm was kind of diluted and swallowed up by the DC universe. Well, they made a big purchase. It was called Jim Lee. And Manchester Black is one of the best Superman animated films ever, says Nick Tucker. Yeah, it was. And the introduction story with a cover by a friend of mine, Tim Bradstreet. It was great. I actually got a print from Tim on that. And dang, Professor X Troph. Yeah. He does it all.
I thought you would have caught that.
And the Chief, you know.
And 1963 put me in a wheelchair. Yeah. X-Men #1, 1963.
Yeah, exactly. Leading a group of misfits that the world doesn't understand. Yeah, there's a fresh
Super
idea.
Dicks. Didn't you say it was Super Dicks?
Yes.
Yeah, that's another book. That's another Dick. That's another book.
That's a different kind of comic.
Yeah, that's for the after hours version of the show. And BKM and DC never separated. Great review. Thank you, Ted Davies. And next week, says Brian Rodman, is Batman 89 Baby. My body is ready. Sir, you stay in training. You stay in that bubble all week long, man. We got to get that review from you.
Ooh, I saw a Catwoman variant cover of that for next week.
Oh, really?
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, nice. I'm there.
The Billy D. Williams Two-Face. I saw that.
Oh, sweet.
Supposedly they're going to use Billy D in the Flash movie. That's a rumor I heard.
Oh man,
as like as Two-Face, but who knows?
Okay. Oh, if only
it's a hopeful rumor, but who knows?
Yeah. Well,
Billy's getting up there.
Well, that's true, but you can do a lot of CG and makeup and such. But the fact that we may get Michael Keaton, it's like every other day. Yeah, Keaton's in. Well, maybe he's not in. He's there. No, he's not. So anyway, Brian Hawkins says I almost picked up a DC book this week. Then I came to my senses. This is Brian Hawkins' last appearance on this show. He will be purged anyway. And Ted Davies Artistry, Batman 89. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to was it Superman 79, based on the Christopher Reeve movies, something like that. I don't remember when that's supposed to come out though. Or 78, whenever that movie did come in. I can never remember the year. And Brian Rodman says, I actually really dig Morrison's X-Men. Folks tend to compare him to Claremont. You just can't do that. He's an entirely different monster.
No,
I sense a disturbance in the force.
Different. Comparing Morrison to Claremont is almost comparing apples to oranges. Their writing styles are completely different. Nowhere near close, and there's nothing that you can use to compare them.
Yeah, and
I agree with Joe.
Oh my God!
Because I was raised in the Claremont era.
45. You're watching history, folks. These two are agreeing on something.
It was like Claremont was the master of the subplot.
Right.
Nothing that Morrison did had a subplot. He gave you a great story from beginning to end. There's no comparison there as far as their writing styles whatsoever. For him to say that, I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Claremont pick up plots from years prior. I mean, out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah, and also the writing style is so different because not knowing how the scripts look. By comparison, Grant Morrison is very terse in what you see on the printed page. Just like Alan Moore. Alan Moore's, if you ever get a chance to see an Alan Moore script, oh my God, it is denser than spent uranium. You know what I'm saying? It is like, you could shield yourself with, from radiation with that crap, but it doesn't appear on the page. He's very lean with the dialogue.
It's like reading Alex Haley's Roots, but yet you only get 24 pages out of it art-wise.
Yeah, that's a good analogy there. Yeah, but yeah, I think there's just two different styles there and two different styles applying. But Brian, we'll agree to disagree, my friend. We're glad for your input. And Comics Talk.
Good thing you can't breathe this week.
You tell him. You tell him. And anyway, Comics Talk Pops fan said, "Hey, yo, good to see you, Pops." And Brian Hawkins said, "Brian Rodman, I'm seeing August 10th as a release for Batman 89." And I think that Brian would probably tie his bed sheets together and slip past his wife to make sure he gets that book. And it's out in print then, but digital next week. And you'll be waiting for print. And Brian Rodman's doing both. He can't get enough. And Superman 78. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification, Brian. And Keaton wheels up to Billy D, who hits him with his walker. Hey, wait, I'm about that old now. Not so funny. Yeah, welcome to my world, Carl. Welcome to my world. Ageism, ageism. And the broadcast keeps kicking Cindy out. So sounds like the storm is coming up through Iowa, too. Nicholas Anthony Tucker says, "I am sorry. I waited 30 years for Magic the Gathering to do a Forgotten Realms release. So my geek money is really in stasis, you poor man." And Claremont's X-Men, says Brian Rodman, is damn near perfect. When I was saying Joe D. Van Helsing is that folks who do compare them are wrong. Okay, fair enough. That is. Thank you for clarifying that. And yes, you smell comic book men, the wonderful aroma of comic book reviews. Glad you're here. Legend of Traveling TARDIS every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. And get the air freshener, says Brian Rodman. Brian, you don't dare have air freshener around you. I mean, come on. Joe may wind up being Yeah, exactly. Joe could wind up being the regular guy on here if you keep that up. So, and can we do that to poor Joe D. McPhee? He still has a good reputation. So anyway.
Maybe, but then again, I might have a good can of Lysol that's supposed to kill 99.9% of dirt. You never know, Brian Rodman. That is.
That's true. Yeah.
Maybe it's not the sinuses and allergies and the asthma. Maybe you're just a germ.
Joe, you have the right to an attorney. You have the right to remain silent. Don't be making your damn confession on the show. Not till we bury the body. Anyway, Kelly Austin, Pulp Reality, good to see you. Hello, everyone. I'm here to ask a question as I got into an argument with a person at the comic store the other day. Is the X-Men a good comic book in its current story arc, or do you think that the X-Men itself has long since hit its stride and just become another poor comic trope? Now, I'm going to bow out of this one to a degree because I confess, Kelly, I do not read the current X-Men.
I can't honestly answer that because I haven't read X-Men in a few years. So by what I see stylistically and everything, I'm not interested in it anymore.
Yeah. Joe,
based
how about
upon
you?
The two recent books that I read, no, it's not the same. It's not the same. And the reason why I say it's not the same is because history-wise, the X-Men pretty much was its own universe. And when they brought them into what is now considered like MCU universe in the comic book aspect of it, it's not the same story type telling. And I wouldn't say it's stereotypical tropes. It's something that is not really X-Men. It's like they're trying to find how they fit in to a world where you have the Avengers, all these other groups. Because remember, back in the day, the Avengers did not know about the X-Men and vice versa. They reside in two separate worlds. And when there was crossover, it was crossover because those two worlds collided. It's not until recently that Captain America knows about Wolverine and Cyclops, and it's like it's getting to like, how can I put it? 1963 X-Men was always about unification. The current X-Men is about separation, meaning that we mutants have to separate ourselves from humankind now because we don't fit into your universe anymore. And I'm up here, it's like you're going in the opposite direction of what the book really stands for the way back when. So it's two different animals. Is it as good? I leave it up to the reader.
Yeah. I mean, some of the titles I've seen seem interesting. The Krakoa storyline seems interesting. X of Swords seems interesting, but not enough to make me go buy an issue. The only X-Men I have read was it X-Men Legacy, X-Men Legends, which is set in the 90s. So if that tells you anything, I just haven't it hasn't pulled me around.
Yeah, and that's about the time back in the 90s was about when I got off the boat for X-Men, because you know, I make no secret, I'm old enough to have picked up X-Men #1, the original Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, Paul Reinman book, Sam Rosen lettering. Yes, I read it. I picked it up off the stands. It was available the same month as the Avengers, and it looked interesting from the ads that I saw. And I read it off and on through the years, depending on the distribution that my little town got with comics. And it fortunately got the distribution back just as the Jim Steranko issues popped up. Jim Steranko, Arnold Drake, who helped create the Doom Patrol. And then again with the Roy Thomas, Neil Adams, Tom Palmer era, which was a year of comics don't get any better than this sort of thing. And then I remember getting the new X-Men by Len Wein and Dave Cockrum, followed by Chris Claremont, then eventually John Byrne got on the thing. And they've had some great writing and story, but it was around the 90s. I'd gone through like Fabian Nicienza, and I don't know how to pronounce his name either, as well as Scott Lobdell. Those were pretty good issues. But there was just something that it seemed to me like it was just over and over and over again. It was the same tropes about, not that reading about oppression is a terrible thing, but for a while it seemed like the X-Men were, oh wait, we're being oppressed, let's run away. Let's find our own little island. Let's get away from all this stuff, instead of like the old X-Men who were proactive and pushing back against it. I just thought that was just a poor message to send. So I got off of it around that time.
The X-Men used to be their crossovers were just X-Men crossovers. It didn't go company wide, but some of the if you want to read X-Men Avengers, that old 4-part miniseries was good. The X-Men Fantastic Four, I really love that one. You gotta go real far back to find those, not the current ones, way back.
I think the last current X-Men series that I liked from beginning to end, I believe, was called X-Men 187. The 187.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And that to me was the beginning of where they should have talked about integrating with the rest of the Marvel universe, and they never truly finished it, because it talked about the 187 that they had to keep on the grounds of the was it the Manchester mansion? I can't remember which mansion it was, but they had to keep on the ground because they was like the refugees from the Krakoa island, and they had to keep them there. And the X-Men were, the actual original governing body of the X-Men. So you have Cyclops and everything else helping the United States government to keep these 187 mutants from being integrated into the rest of society. And it was kind of like it was turned on its head because of the simple fact that they was trying to do the best of what they could for what they thought was for the mutants, when they're not listening to what the 187 had. And I believe, I forgot the name of the character. One of the characters pretty much was like a god. He could pretty much do whatever he wanted to do. And it's like he was just messing with everybody. And that was the first time that we ever saw a human man Sentinel. And it's like that was like going backwards to what Bishop was seeing in the future, dealing with the whole thing about the red mutant registration and all this other stuff, because all that stuff played into a factor in 187, because that's what ended up happening. People betrayed one another. And it got to the point where I learned out of that series, never trust Val Cooper. If you ever heard from Captain America, never trust Val Cooper.
Good advice. Well, and it was brought up earlier. A good point that the X-Men were kind of like their own universe, that they were like in their own little corner of Marveldom. And this is back in the day. Again, if you look at the very early classic 60s Marvel, Spider-Man meets the Fantastic Four. That's an event. Or Spider-Man drops in on the X-Men in like issue 31 or 32, and you're going, hot damn, this ought to be good. Or, anytime any of the characters like unite, like the Fantastic Four meet the Avengers and they're both fighting the Hulk in, like 25 and 26, I think it is, of the FF. But the thing is, these things happen so rarely. You're like, I've got to get that issue. That just looks so incredible.
Yeah.
And now the Marvel Universe and DC, to a smaller extent, is so interwoven that it's like, oh, there's Wolverine again. Hi, Logan. It's like, it's not really.
It's James, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
it's not Logan. His name is James.
Oh, that's right. It's James now.
Jeez, come on, Brian, get with it.
Right. Well, yeah, that's true. And I did read that story. Yeah. But to me, he'll always be Logan.
That was the gardener banging his mom.
Well, that's the one I meant. Anyway, no, I don't care about that guy with the claws.
Well, I'll tell you,
got it on with mom.
The X-Men Legacy. I stopped at issue 3. It couldn't even keep me going. The new issue just came out a couple of weeks ago. I was like, nah, never mind.
Yeah,
and it's not really Legacy. It's more like X-Men 90s.
So
yeah.
It's like, you have to understand, a lot of people love the Jim Lee era X-Men for some reason.
Yeah.
I believe it's just more because of the artwork. It wasn't really more because of the story.
Oh, a lot of it's the art. Well, Claremont was still writing it when he started, but he jumped off right after they went to did he jump off at issue 12?
Something like that.
12 or 13. It might have been the same issue Jim Lee left as well. Yeah.
I think
I believe Claremont didn't have a lot of input at that time either with the book, what was going on. He was just getting fed up himself.
Yeah.
So,
from what I've read, Claremont was that Jim Lee was the new flavor of the month, because this was like a fresh artist.
No, he was the Marvel Golden Boy for a long time.
Oh, he was, just like when he went to DC. But he Jim Lee started asserting more control, just like John Byrne wanted to do when he was drawing the book back in the day with Claremont. And Claremont is like, well, screw this, I'm taking off. And that's when Claremont went to DC for about 2 years, did some cool things there. Then he came back to Marvel, where he wrote like an occasional X-Men. He wrote some really good Fantastic Fours, and I would have loved to have seen him stay on that a lot longer. And then, what is it, for like the last 10 years or so, Marvel has been actually paying Claremont not to write.
Yes.
He's got one of those sweetheart contracts. I think it's to make sure he doesn't write for anyone else. But
but I do
unlike the people at DC that don't have a contract at all anymore. But anyway, that's another issue.
I have to put this out here. Because of Claremont, we got good writing out of Byrne.
That's true. And that's why I think when you hear about teams in comics, that you hear about Stan and Jack, you hear about Chris and John, that there is something about those two teaming up. Roy Thomas and Barry Smith, or Roy Thomas and John Buscema, where the two team up, and whatever liabilities they have creatively just kind of vanish. Like John, being a writer himself, knew how to pace the story. He knew what an exciting plot was, and Chris did too. But you have John guiding the visuals, and Chris putting his very, very very well done spin on the words. I've read his books. I've read Claremont's books.
So you read
not in prose either.
X-Men novels, then.
Well, I wish he would write some X-Men novels, but yeah, he wrote some First Flight and stuff, I think.
He wrote 3 of them.
Did he?
He wrote 3 X-Men prose novels. Yes.
Or I might have them downstairs. I just haven't read them. They're still in boxes.
Eric laughed.
Yeah, it's like there's an old Bare Naked Lady song I quote often. I don't buy everything I read, and I don't read everything I buy. So this is why you don't get to look at the rest of the office, because I've got like a pile now. It's up to my hip. I believe
it's called like the Sanctuary series, the X-Men Sanctuary series. It was 3 prose.
That sounds familiar. Yeah, I think so.
I might not have gotten them because I think at the time I was going more for the DC books, because some of those were really good. So, Whereas Marvel was like pushing out a lot of stuff, and it was hard to keep up with. So
the strange thing about Claremont, I think the only books I have his signature on is a Wildcats and a was it an Alien book?
Yeah, he did
I think it's an Alien book. I didn't have him sign any X-Men books.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Unless it's X-Men #1, but I don't think it was.
I'm lucky. I got it.
But you told me what a crappy artist I was too. So
I got
was he know?
X-Men 100 signed and graded by him.
Oh, cool.
Sweet.
And then I got a #1 issue of a little known independent book that he did called Prudence and Caution.
Yes, from Broadway. Wasn't it Broadway? Wasn't it one of Jim Shooter's?
It was a small company that nobody ever heard of. And like I said, I was so embarrassed when he did that because he literally stopped the whole signing line. It took a good 15 minutes to read the book.
Really?
He said,
wow.
I have not seen this in years. And people were mad at me because he stopped.
Oh, no.
Wow. This is interesting.
I relate to that because years ago, John Byrne used to go to Mid-Ohio-Con a lot. And I like to I've told the story before on the morning show, but it's like I like to bring in stuff that maybe they've not seen in a while. And I brought in 3 comics. One was like Man of Steel #1.
Mm-hmm.
He signed it. Then he put it aside and he got the next one. It was that Amazing Spider-Man #1 when they restarted the line.
Mm-hmm.
He signed that, put it off to one side. And the third one was one of his Charlton books, Emergency #1, based on the TV show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Byrne let out this girlish scream that you could hear on the parking lot. And
like, ooh!
It was more like, ah! Everyone in the room stops and looks at the fat guy. And he is the one we must kill.
You're at a comic show and they stopped and looked at the fat guy?
I'm about to say,
yeah, that's how serious this was. My life could have ended that day. And then finally, Byrne turned to Roger Stern, who's like one of his best friends, and said, "Look what this guy brought! Look what this guy brought!" And Stern started laughing. And then Byrne, then it broke the mood, and I thought, well, Cookie's about to become a widow. But the thing was, after that, people complain about Byrne at shows, but I always got along with him. In fact, he remembered me from year to year because, without having to kiss his butt.
It's like, you like my stuff that you brought me in Emergency #1.
But he told me the story behind it, why he was so, why he didn't really want to see it. See, the thing was, when this is back before he went to Marvel, before he started on Iron Fist and everything, he was still at Charlton. And the editor, George Wildman, called him like in the middle of the week and said, "Hey, listen, John, do you got room on your schedule? We've got this emergency comic book based on the TV show. We need it turned around and quick. We need you to draw, pencil it, ink it, and letter it," because he was lettering his own stuff back then by hand. This was way pre-computer. And John was one of those guys that, you didn't turn down an assignment because you don't know when the next one's coming along. Yeah. So he said, "Yeah, I'll do it. How many days do I have?" And Wildman told him, "We're going to overnight it to you. You have 3 days to overnight it back."
Eek.
He did it. He managed to do it. And he sent reference material and stuff. But that's why he signed it Byrne Robotics. The first time he ever did that. Because he was never really satisfied with that story. Having to draw it in such a short period of time and not really give it the love he felt it deserved, i.e. probably rewriting Joe Gill's script. But anyway, which everyone did at Charlton, actually, but because Joe drank his dinners or his lunches, or whatever. But anyway, but no, and from there, Byrne started telling me like all kinds of stuff behind the scenes from his Marvel work, who his favorite inker on him was.
Ooh.
It was one time. Of course, his favorite inker was himself, of course.
Right.
I think it was Marvel Team Up number 69, inked by Tony DeZuniga, the original artist on Jonah Hex.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony was a great inker too. Great on John Buscema. But he inked one issue of Marvel Team Up, and John Byrne told me, said, that is the closest anyone has come to my own inking, which I prefer on my work. And said, I would have loved if he had come back, but it just, the schedules just didn't work out and such. And he had respect for people like Joe Sinnott and Dave Hunt and Terry Austin, of course. He said, but that really captures the way I see my art in my head. Okay. And I thought,
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought that was very, very nice of him to placate me after endangering me.
Wasn't his fan club called Burn Victims or something like that?
It's actually an anti-fan club.
Ah, okay.
Because John, I guess, has had some encounters with people. I think most of the 90s and aughts editorial staff at Marvel and DC are probably members of this group. John does not suffer fools lightly. John's a smart as hell guy. He's very intelligent. And I found the thing is, when you approach him, you approach the presence. When he would show up at Mid-Ohio-Con, he had like a sign, like a little stand-up, where he explained what you were to do. You could have 3 comic books. You were to have the books opened. You turn to the page you want signed. You do it. I think he had no handshaking or anything like that. And if you had more than 3 books, you could go back to the end of the line and run it again, where you could do another 3 books. He was very and don't ask me for sketches. I don't have time. I want to move it. And he explained on it. Say, I want to get as many people through the line as I can. And sketching just ain't going to do it. But if you approach him, or I found, with respect, there's a word. But you go up and
what's that word mean?
Aretha Franklin spelled it out for us. But no, that's what it means to me. But no, you go up and you acknowledge that this guy has done stuff.
Yeah.
He has made a major impact on comics. He is intelligent as hell, and you can kid around with him even. As long as you're like, hey, I read your book, it sucked, sort of thing. He's not gonna do
nothing, but
he's not gonna be your friend.
Screen was just like how Claremont did, and looked over to his people, hold it, picked up the book and just started reading like,
yeah.
It's like the only thing you can do is just get red face because you don't know what's coming out next from him.
I know. It's a little terrifying, but I came back with a good story. But no, it's not. But no, he was a good guy. And the burn victims, though, are people that have had less than pleasant encounters with him.
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah, I know. It's kind of like, remember I'm probably the only one who remembers from the 60s, like the Superman Revenge Squad.
I don't remember anything from the 60s, Brian. Joe, you? I don't think you do either, do you?
It's before. I'm not going to even say it.
Actually, I meant to do this.
71, so I don't remember anything about the 60s.
I remember the Eisenhower administration. You guys get off my damn lawn.
Almost messed up.
That's so. We love you, Eric. We do. But anyway, let's get
with that comment. Joe moves into the number 2 spot.
Okay, fine, Eric. There we go. Jeez, look, things I do to keep peace around here. And is Joe D. McPhee secretly a villain, bumping off comic reviewers to solidify his position? That remains to be seen.
If you pay attention to my Facebook post, you know what I was embodying at the time.
I saw that.
I love that app. I put Brian's face on stuff all the time. Just for my amusement. I don't even care half the time.
Yeah, it's my head on Britney Spears. There, and Eric has a lot to answer for. Anyway, Brian Rodman says, I've tried to read X-Men and it's definitely not the same. Joe's absolutely right. They're best done in a world all their own. I'm wondering how that will go over when they join the MCU. Well, of course, then again, that universe is its own different animal too, because Marvel's not doing any jack crap with it. And it's not like there's a big difference between one movie that comes out the sequel may come out like 4 or 5 years from now, as opposed to a comic that's on a 30-day cycle. So a lot of room for them to bump into each other. Nicholas Anthony Tockard says X-Men is falling into the same hole as Wildstorm in DC. Yeah, that's very true. Cindy Cap says, I haven't read X-Men since 1993, but she was a fan. What I've seen and heard of the current stories, it wouldn't appeal. And Ted Davies Artistry has my answer. X who?
Well, you have a whole year-long gala event going on right now. Isn't it supposed to last a year with her at the Hellfire Gala?
Yeah.
That one doesn't. Yeah, that one didn't even make me interested at all.
No. I'm running from it like
just bean counters that don't understand what the purpose of the Hellfire Club was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. And Amanda Elliford says it reminds me of TV shows centering around mutants from X-Men. And boo that man, says Brian Rodman. An old X-Men, the best X-Men. Thank you, Ted Davies. Thank you, Ted, because they're like Next Men, a John Byrne series, but not as good because Hellboy ain't on the cover. And which makes sense. We've got a lot of Hellboy fans around here, and no doubt truth. And Nick Tucker says everything I see is X-Men just becoming more villainous. Krakoa feels like a cross between Magneto's Genova and Doom's Latveria. Seriously wondering why the mutants haven't just conquered everyone. There we go.
Now hold on, since you're not a big X-Men fan, and Joe, you were an X-Men fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did he say the name correctly or not?
Did I?
It's supposed to be
like Werner's.
No, Magneto. You said Magneto.
Magneto. That's
is
right.
It Magneto or Magneto? I've always said Magneto. I've heard it said Magneto.
Yeah, didn't they say it in the movies as Magneto?
Right, Eric.
Okay, yeah.
If Stan Lee calls him Magneto, that's what I'm calling him.
That's what I thought. Brian, get with it.
That's good
Magneto.
enough for me. Screw you, movies. Screw you. Just like we worship the Submariner here.
If
anyway,
you do the show, if I don't give Brian crap, it's not a show.
Exactly. This is what makes this show work. The Uncanny Forever has Ted Davies, and Method Man as Bishop in the MCU or Riot. Okay, I understand. And the Gardener was, and here we go, says Carl Wisman, trying to find where we've put Brian Rodman's body. And speaking of off the rails, which you'd be talking about this show pretty much, a spooky old bus with spooky music just drove by selling ice cream. Yeah, sure. And if they offer you... And make sure you know where that red balloon has been, all right? And Jim Lee, says Brian Rodman, hung around for a bit. Oh, come on. There we go. After Claremont left, but not much longer, Jim called the shots, and Claremont realized he had no control as he left. And Kelly Austin says Chris left after issue 3, I think. Hello again, children of great wisdom.
Yeah.
Who's she talking to?
Thank you.
Okay, it's Joe. It's Joe.
I applied Brian's his reaction. It's like, who, where?
Yeah. Who the hell are you talking about, Kelly? Anyway, if each of you were granted total power over any comic book company, what books would you cancel, and which characters or comic book concepts from any past period would you bring back, and why? Wow, that's heavy.
You want me to get kicked off the show?
Yeah, this is gonna be like the next 2 hours. Wow. I don't know that I would want DC or Marvel, to be honest.
Because I know the first 2 books I would cancel. I already know the 2 books
Let's hear it, Joe.
I would cancel Superman. There's no...
It's good having you, Joe.
Eric Hawkins moves right back into number 2.
Right now.
I love Superman.
Just hear me out. There's no
story that you can
write right now about Clark Kent that has not been explored already.
Yeah.
Again, I have thought about stories to kill off Superman where average human beings can do it, but they won't touch it because his concept of him being the figurehead, savior, must always be attained.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get around it. So if you can't get around it, then all your other concepts, all your other stories are gone. You're just rehashing stuff now. Why not cancel it? It has to come to an end.
Well, that's true.
Same thing with Batman.
Yeah.
You're not creating any new villains for him to make him shine. The luster is gone.
Yeah.
Now, books that I would bring back, I would try to find ways to bring back Challengers of the Unknown. I would find a way to bring back Adam Strange. I will find ways to bring back things like the Spirit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, the older books where it wasn't about the powers that made the character, it was about the settings and the environment that makes them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that.
But yeah, Brian quite kicked me off the show because I canceled Superman.
Oh, I do agree with the Batman and Superman, but the reason they'll never do that. That's their biggest IPs. It's money. It's all cash. It's not so much the comics, but everything else. All the merchandise. Yeah. I would bring back an entire universe. I don't know why I'd cancel, but I'd definitely bring back an entire universe. I'd bring back a new universe.
Yeah. Bring back TP7. Bring back TP7 because TP7 had a lot of potential, but they just couldn't tap it. They couldn't tap into it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also liked even some of the things like Spitfire. Mm-hmm. And Kickers Inc. Not so much.
Kickers Inc. wasn't the best one, but
it had its moments. It did have its moments, and I liked Night Mask a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What was
Starbrand?
Starbrand, thank you.
Which they brought Starbrand into the Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't read many of them or anything about it, but I think a baby has the Starbrand right now or something like that. Last time I watched someone's channel reviewing a book. Yeah.
I think he's an adult. I saw him in some of the Jonathan Hickman.
Because Rocket had it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rocket got killed or something and it went back to a baby.
The new Heroes Reborn.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
How this one baby bequeathed it to Rocket for him to finish off what he couldn't finish.
Yeah. Well, if I'm going to take a stand here, I mean, I agree with you guys completely. There are some characters that they're going to have to work real hard to come up with fresh ideas. And Superman, I admit, is one of them, because how many permutations of that can you have without treading over old ground? But even then, some of the stuff from the early Marvel universe we're revisiting over and over and over. If I were to take either Marvel or DC, I'm more inclined to be DC because I grew up with that stuff. I would cut down the number of books, tie-in books. Like if I was at Marvel, there would be one X-Men book. There would be, and because this is something Jim Shooter did. And one of the reasons, and I think this was genius when I found out why he did it. That's why when he was there, he said, there'll never be a Wolverine book as long as I'm editor-in-chief. Because if you want to read Wolverine, you buy X-Men. Mm-hmm. And instead of losing those customers from the X-Men book who are just wanting to read Wolverine, they'll go off X-Men suddenly. But anyway, then you don't have everyone coming over and reading Wolverine. Mm-hmm. So you have two books who are selling a fraction. One that's not really selling what it should. The other one is selling a fraction of what it did, which the bean counters would look at and say, okay, that book's got to get canceled. But I would probably, if I had to take over one of the two, it would probably be DC. And for the same reason that Joe had, I would cut back on the Batman books. I would make sure that there were comics based on what they're doing now. There'd be like a Batman based on Michael Keaton, the movies. There would be a Batman based on the Bale movies. There would be Christopher Reeve books. There would be the Snyderverse would be represented. There would be more of this stuff that ties into what more people are familiar with. And yeah, you get the older fans who complain about, well, that's not the character I grew up with. Well, guess what? The comics, I believe that not only do comics have a lifespan, okay, there are characters that will fall out of, like Johnny Blaze. Mm-hmm. I mean, back in the 90s, or not in the 90s, but in the 70s and 80s, he was the Ghost Rider. Danny Ketch was the Ghost Rider until they overexposed him so much. Same with the Punisher. I would cut these characters down to one book. Legacy characters might get two, but you want to read Spider-Man.
I'm surprised you knew who Danny Ketch was.
Ha 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 ha. And I know there are more versions of Ghost Rider than that, including a woman and one who had a car instead of a motorcycle. Plus, there was
Charger.
Ghost Rider 20, a Charger, right? And 2099 Ghost Rider, and there was a Cosmic Ghost Rider. Ha, Brian's.
But who was the
Brian
cowboy
surprises
Ghost
you all.
Rider?
Sorry?
Who was the cowboy Ghost Rider?
Sam Elliott. And I'd watch anything with Sam Elliott in it. So anyway.
You don't watch anything with Sam Elliott?
No, I would watch anything with Sam Elliott.
Okay.
I've been a fan of his since this dates me. I've been a fan of Sam Elliott since Mission Impossible.
Okay.
No,
He
but
was
the original Ghost Rider was a cowboy.
Oh, that's true. Oh, yes. Okay, that one. I wasn't thinking. I was thinking of a Head on Fire sort of guy. But you're right.
And
It started at Magazine Enterprises, written or drawn by Dick Ayers.
Mm-hmm. And
I can't remember the name of the writer, but he also wrote.
Actually, he
I
kind
think
of looked
someone
like Moon Knight on a horse, didn't he, with a cowboy
Yeah,
hat?
he did. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But no, but if I had a company that I wanted to revive, my first bet would be Tower, because I loved those old issues, and a lot of them were very character driven. You know, Thunder Agents, Dynamo, No Man, all those. I would revive Broadway comics because they had a great comic called Fatale about a well-rounded, and I don't mean just physically, woman. She was smart as hell. And, you know, yeah, she was drop dead gorgeous, but the stories were pretty intelligent. And Jim Shooter also, this was Jim Shooter's last publishing project. And he said he came up with a character that I want to write. I so want to write it. The concept was, and they never did anything with it, but it was a guy who found out that his body turned into a gateway into hell. And he was, he had, of course, this, you can see the story possibilities here. Mm-hmm. The title of it was The Hell I Am. And I just love that idea. And I think, oh my God, what could we not do with that? But anyway, Kelly, that's a very good question. You get it now, Joe. You get it.
No. I read Brian's comment.
Okay, we'll move down to that. Jim left for Image not too much longer after that. I think you're right. Yeah, and paid not to write. I could do that. I don't write, and I don't get paid to do that. Ace Bonnie, good to see you. Good evening. All the comic books I inherited from my older brother had their last pages missing. I had to draw my own conclusions. Oh no!
I had a bunch with covers missing because my mom worked at a convenience store.
Yeah,
the damaged ones. They ripped off the cover and they just gave her her bring home. That's the first time I ever read a Metal Men.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I love the old.
Love that old because that was sometime in the 70s. But
yeah. Oh, those 80s? Are good too. Yeah,
70s, early 80s. Early 80s is when it was. Yeah.
Steve Gerber wrote some Metal Men that were really, really fantastic, and Walt Simonson drew them too. And here we go. Black Terror Fan 45. We are glad to see. I think you've been here before. Retcon Doomsday Clock because it is ruining the reputation of comics. And who has read the recent Moon Knight comic? Eric reviewed that at the top of the show. DC ruined Wildstorm. You can make
go out and buy it today.
Yes, and get all those variants.
Get the strange Moon Knight Captain America cover with his shield. His moon shield.
Moon shield. I love that. And Brian Rodman says, John Byrne, Neil Adams, and Alan Moore walk into a bar and no one smiled ever again. And DC ruined Watchmen. DC keeps redoing Watchmen. And Joe changes his lighting and moves up the ladder. It's a fight here. I'm telling you, it's vicious. And technically, Stan doesn't call Magneto anything anymore. Womp, womp, womp.
Soon.
Too damn soon. We're all still alive for that.
You just took his smile away.
I hope you're proud of yourself, Brian. I just hope you're proud of yourself now. Anyway, and Magneto is a ripoff of the DC Comics character Dr. Polaris. Yeah, Dr. Polaris did come first. That's a very good observation, Black Terror. Thank you. And I am not Starfire. Je ne suis Starfire pas. Anyway, that's all I remember from my high school French. And I would cancel Doomsday Clock just so the reputation of comics is safe. Oh my God, this is gold. And Brian Rodman, if I were in charge, I would give all the mainstream characters proper endings and then create new ones. Follow the Magnolia method. Oh, that's one thing I would do. I think this would save a lot of trouble for a lot of people. Every year, I would declare that year worth of Superman and Batman and legacy characters in the public domain. I would release the copyright on, like, I think it's supposed to happen in 2034, I think. Oh, it will never happen. Now, here's the thing. DC will still control the trademark. But once you put that stuff inside the book, well, it's a little harder to find you. But anyway, and Black Terror says, I would bring the Wildstorm universe back to Image Comics. If only Image was into that. I want to see the Ultraverse come back, but you'll never get that from Marvel either. Did I bring back memories, Joe?
I'm not a fan of every book that was in the Ultraverse.
I'm not either, but there were some gems in there. And by the way, I will be having Roland Mann, who I believe was one of the editors of that, this coming Tuesday on Clever Title Pending.
Talk about it then.
Say what?
Talk about it then.
I know, I will. I promise. Anyway, issue 3 says Brian Hawkins. I would explain why I got him to sign issue 3. I think I got 1 and 3 signed. Then I did get Jim Lee to also sign them. Well, no, I got him to sign Wildcats and Deathblow. Duh. And what's that? Brian K. Moore sneaking up behind Joe D with a folding chair. Joe doesn't see him. BKM's making his way up to the top. And God, the rising tide splash. Oh, the humanity. Get a ref in there. He's going down.
Read the bell.
Hey, tag me. And Eric's yelling, tag me in. And Brian Rodman goes, I'm fine where I am. And Black Terror fan number 45 says, I would love to take over DC Comics. I'd love to see that. And Nicholas Anthony Tucker says, stop resetting time. Let heroes age out. I'm ready for DC to do the Beyond verse. Well, that's what we're getting now with Future State to a degree. And Brian said Sam Elliott. Yes, and he meant it. And Cindy Kemp says, oh yeah, the Mission Impossible episodes with Sam Elliott were fun. They were. And you got your slabbed already.
Yeah. Remember, I get multiple copies of certain books. So
that's true. You do.
Often I get 1 or 2 slab.
Yeah. So, and Ace Bonnie says, would you bring back the Wizard books? Hell
magazine?
No. The magazine. Actually, a friend of mine.
They did a couple of comics too.
Yeah. That's right. They did. I liked the one that Palmiotti and Connor did. But I wasn't really a big fan of the other one. I think it was, who did that? Stephen Grant, I think? I can't even remember what they were now. And given my memory of the useless. But anyway, I would say no. But anyway, I do have some friends that have been trying to bring back Wizard magazine, but you notice it's not out yet. And Ace, I'm with you on that. And Brian Rodman, I'm always proud of myself, as well you should be. And then we have Ted Davies.
Beer.
Yeah. And Brian's crying now because Eric's mocking him. And Davies Artistry says, burn it all. Just leave Grim 101.
No, I agree with that. I like that. Get rid of them all. But I don't want to see their kids be the new heroes. I want to see new heroes. Not their children so much.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, I will be reviewing Superman, Son of Jor-El when it comes, or Kal-El when it comes out.
Well, of course he's Son of Jor-El. Jeez.
Yeah, well,
that brings up a question that a lot of older people hate, but I kind of want to see. I want to see proper passing of mantles. And that's one of the things a lot of old people in comics don't like. It's like, why can't you create a new character? It's like, why can't a mantle be passed and that new character make that mantle his own? Yes. Not follow in the footsteps of the old character, but make that mantle their own.
I agree completely. Well, it's like Roy Thomas tried to do that with Infinity Incorporated and All-Star Squadron, where he had like new versions of like Wildcat and Dr. Midnight, kind of like what the Stargirl TV show is doing. But yeah, I like that a lot better.
Perfect example, the difference between Blue Beetle Ted Kord and Blue Beetle Jaime Reyes.
Yeah. Or look at the various flashes.
The only difference is that the Scarab actually made itself known to Jaime because he was younger and he saw potential in him.
Yeah.
Oh, did anyone get Booster Gold and Blue Beetle this week? Was there a new #1 out this week?
I didn't see it at my shop.
I saw it and I didn't pick it up either.
I didn't know about it. I totally blanked on it.
I didn't see it at my shop. I might have overlooked it, or it might have sold out. But because I like Dan Jurgens' writing and I like Ryan Sook's art, so I'm willing to give that a shot. Maybe it'll come in next week. They might have gotten shorted because
a lot of shops got shorted this week. It seems like I saw a lot of posts from different shops getting shorted.
Oh, really? Okay. So, and Ted Davies Artistry has the solution. Start fresh with only Magnola, BPRD forever.
Yeah.
And Ace Bonnie, Brian plays voice Satan, and Brian Rodman says, Brian, you won the asthma game with that Sam Elliott commenting to the nebulizer. Okay, did I have 20406? Anyway, and Nick Tucker says Batman Beyond did it great. Dr. Fate is constantly shifting. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, refer to Brian Rodman, who is gasping for breath. And what about First Comics? Yes, how do you view the old company and should it be brought back from the ashes? First Comics does exist as a website, but a lot of the properties they no longer have the rights to, such as Grimjack, which is co-owned by John Ostrander and Timothy Truman, because I interviewed them. That's how I found out. Mike Barron and Steve Rude have Nexus back, and Mike Barron owns Badger.
Yes,
and yeah, and I don't and Nick Cuddy and Joe Staten have E-Man back. Warp was licensed. And then a lot of stuff just wasn't memorable. I would say I loved First Comics, outfit out of Chicago, but and Joe's grinning. He's up to something.
I just reading the other comments because now I got a brand new hashtag to unveil.
Okay, here we go. Don't die, Brian R. You need to finish that book. There you go, because you got toys to put out.
Brand
so
don't die. Keep reading Brian.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, I love the old First Comics, but I think it would be tough to get the band back together. Now, they have published some stuff. They did one book, it's about 10 years ago or so, by Trevor Von Eden called The Original Johnson, and it was about the boxer Jack Johnson. It was brilliant, too. It really was. But editorial.
So the Original Johnson, my mind went somewhere else.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, yeah. This is like it's like, Trevor, are you marketing this to me? You know what I think it is, but no, it's about the boxer Jack Johnson. And in fact, Trevor Von Eden actually went back to college to teach himself or to learn writing. Actual writing, like a MBA or something, just so he could do this book. And I don't think the second half has ever been published. And that's one of my things. If I had like a couple $2 billion, I would approach Trevor and ask if I could publish it, if he still had the rights and all. But anyway, I hope we've answered everyone's questions. And here we go, Brian Rodman. I've instructed the clones to continue my stories when I'm gone, David. Don't worry. Well, that's good of you to be responsible like that. That is good. So
very good.
Yeah, I know. There's a man that thinks of his fans first, as well as we all should as creators. So, unless they disagree with me, but anyway, so I think we have come to the end of our show, and we've gone over 2 hours, and it has been delight. And Clyde, wherever you are, we hope everything is okay. And I went back to the everything. I thought I saw two icons, and one's Eric,
he's
and the other one's Brian Rodman. So
yeah,
Clyde,
I just looked again too. He's not there. He's gone.
Clyde, brother, we hope you are well, sir. Seriously, whatever's going on in Southern Illinois, get rid of it, because I'm going through there tomorrow. What?
I mean, he's basically straight across from me an hour.
Yeah, that's right.
And we've been sunny all week. Still sunny.
Yeah, but the thing, if the weather comes up kind of from the south and heads northeast, which a lot of storms do in that area,
right, it would kind of like curve right.
Yeah,
go up and then curve towards the lake to go more towards Indiana, Michigan. Yeah. So it's a good, like I said, it's a good possibility that it might miss us here in Chicago as a whole. But they're saying it's shooting up that the east side of the state. Yeah,
and I think I'm going to get like the edge of it here in Lafayette. So, but since I'm going to be in Murfreesboro on Saturday at Muddy Monster Comics, and there's a reason why it's or not at the comic shop, but at Muddy Monster Minicon. We're gonna have a good time.
Monster truck rally. When you said that, I was like, what?
Yeah. No, what happened is Murfreesboro has a cryptid there.
Oh,
and
okay.
it's called
really?
The Muddy Monster. And I'm going to learn about it when I go down
I
there.
didn't know that. Huh.
I didn't either till I talked to Dave No of the Muddy Monster Comics, which is at 1422 Walnut Street in Murfreesboro, Illinois. We take care of our people. And please come see us. We'd really love to see you there. But anyway, we've got a couple more comments.
David Clark will be there with a red banana.
Yes. Nathan Bonner
Mhm.
will be there, and several of my other peeps. We will see if we can't broadcast from there with any luck, at least briefly. And Carl Witzman says, good job, folks. Carl, thank you for being here, my man. I appreciate you so much. And Ted Davies Artistry, great show. Fab 3 or 4. Much success, guys. Yeah, we're getting some attrition on the show.
Dropping
apparently.
like flies.
I know. Only the strong survive this show. And take care, all. Ace Bonnie, thank you for being here. Brian Rodman, you were missed, my brother. We love you, man. Please take care of yourself. Give Robin a hug from all of us.
Take care of that beard.
That's right. That's right.
Or else I have to try to turn this into more like a handlebar mustache to be evil.
Well, you're in good company then. And Cindy Kemp says, thanks for hosting the adventure. Mwah! Thank you for being here. CKOEPP.com. Please sign for that newsletter. Next
Eric
issue
almost
should be
got it. He almost got it.
I don't got nothing to work with.
Out, my beard balm, and I could get it twirling.
That looks good, Eric. Actually, that does look good, man.
Yeah.
It does.
I like it, but certain people don't. So.
Oh, yeah, that's why I'm clean shaven. Yeah,
But, I am definitely letting this part grow out pretty good.
Good man. Well, I remember I used to have a beard. I used to have a full beard when I got married, and then I was trying to shave it down to a Van Dyke, kind of more like Joe's. And Cookie said, well, I really like to see your face. I'd really. And then one day I was trying to shave it down, and I couldn't get it even. I just said it, and I shaved the whole thing off. And I walked into the bedroom, and I said, Cookie, what do you think? And I believe the term is fade to black. Okay. Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, it was nice. It was like, run.
Yeah. It was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, I'm telling you. So anyway, while Eric is twirling his mustache like a Snidely Whiplash and risking the ire of his wife. Oh, Dudley Do Right. We'll tie nail to the tracks now. But anyway, folks, thank you all for being here. I have had a lot of fun. And Joe, thank you so much again for being here on short notice. And
we appreciate it, Joe. And, enjoy your reviews too, man.
Yeah, seriously, we do. We're gonna have to kill off a couple other people to get you back on. But anyway, we're gonna go around the room, and then I will sign off. And please stick around because we usually have the after show. Let's start with Joe D. McPhee while Eric is playing with his mustache.
Eric is playing with his mustache, and I'm just pulling out props for I can say, look forward to viewing my show later on this upcoming Saturday. We're going to have a double show starting at 7:00 p.m. on YouTube, Twitch, and the company page on Facebook here. But for those who don't know, I am Joe D. McPhee. I am the creator of Amazonia, who just recently celebrated their 10th anniversary. This is one of the variant covers for the 10th anniversary #1, which has the original Amazonia #1 and the 5th anniversary edition, all in one nice little safe issue. A little bit over 50 pages worth of comic for $5 here. You can get that off our company website, this is on the company website. You can't get it through Comixology because we don't have this out there digitally here. I'm also the creator of Primetime Saturday Night as well as AWF here. You can always catch me on Facebook or YouTube, Twitch now, and DeviantArt up under Silverbolt 14 here. So there's always ways to catch up with me online, but the easiest way to catch up with me is just to watch From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher on Saturdays.
Yep, which is always a must view for me every week, Joe. Again, Joe, thank you so much for being here, man.
Not a problem.
Appreciate it, man. And you'll be back with number 30, I promise. Okay.
Oh, no. It's like at first I thought it was every 15 issues because I have to actually earn my way up. But now since I know I'm an official backup, It's just more along the lines. It's like I just need some lead time to have something ready.
Why should we treat you differently than we treat ourselves? Anyway, here is Eric Snidely Pornsack Hawkins. Eric,
I think
how can
Joe's been
people keep up with
sending
you?
envelopes of pollen to Brian's house. Much more deadly than anthrax. So, yeah, I'm Eric S. Hawkins, creator of ZOMBIEFUL World of Oz, which is issue 3 is in the middle of fulfillment. A lot of stuff to pack up. I'm going to have to stop putting all these little things in with these things. I got buttons,
Whose fault is
pins,
that?
poker chips. But, like, yeah, I love my backers. This one's going to someone who's back since issue 1 and actually lives in the St. Louis area. We've become friends, and since Loki's been on, we've been texting or messaging pictures back and forth with different variants, like croc shoes with horns and stuff, and all kinds of different stuff. So that's why I did the Cowardly Lion as a zombie Loki variant. And that's from one of my backers. I got tons of sketch cards to do, not as many sketch covers to do, which I'm glad. There's only like 15 sketch covers, but there's like 30-something sketch cards. I didn't know people bought that many of them. So in the middle of doing all that. Otherwise, you can catch me here every week in most of Brian's chats, being a jerk, and on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever social media can be found.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my God! Thank you, Eric.
Eric, why did you put in my mind? If you go to the camera real quick, why did you put in my mind? It's like you just see Brian Rodman there, just tears coming down his eye.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And everything with this big old envelope and his wife up here. It's like, what's wrong, honey? Did you get some bad news in the mail today? No,
Yeah, here's my Robin Rodman imitation. Hello, 911. Oh, we dedicate the show to Brian Rodman and to Clyde Hall. We hope you're okay. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, I'm taking it from here, and I'm going to mute. No, I'll keep everybody on. They probably have got something smart to say. Anyway, I'm Brian K. Morris, the alleged host, actually co-host, because I credit my people here. Anyway, you can find me at risingtide.pub, where you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter. I'm also mostly on Facebook. I broadcast a bunch of stuff, particularly on YouTube. On Brian K. Morris Rising Tide. We've just recently renamed the channel, may rename it some more. And also we have 3 mornings every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Never mind the furthermore, an interactive talk show. Tuesday nights it's 8 p.m. all times Eastern. You figure out where you live. We have Clever Tile Pending. This coming Tuesday, we're going to have Roland Mann of the Ultraverse and Silverline Comics talking about his latest creation. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to having him on the show. And then, of course, Thursday nights, we have this fine, super fine show here with all these cool people. And Nicholas Anthony Tucker, that wasn't Fade to Black. That was Fade to Barry White. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, thank you all for watching. And don't forget, if you've enjoyed any part of this show, and Lord knows you should have, because it's been fun. If you're watching on Facebook, please give us a like and share with your friends. We'd love it if you did. Also, please give a like to the page you're watching on as a thank you. And if you're watching us on YouTube for the better sound and picture quality, be sure to give this a thumbs up if you would, and please subscribe. It helps us so very much, and we've got all kinds of really cool content coming your way soon. Please join our regular subscribers and be sure to molest that bell so that you get notified of all of our future appearances. And Ace Bonnie, fade to Tom Jones. Well, that's not
unusual to get kissed at 80 times.
Goodbye monetization. Who cares? Anyway, and don't forget, folks, we will be back tomorrow morning with Nevermind the Furthermore at 10 a.m. And then Saturday, I will be at the Davis McCann Civic Center at 15 North 14th Street in Murfreesboro, Illinois. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from Southern Illinois University. And I will be there from 10 to 5 for the big Muddy Monster Minicon. It's a first-time convention. And I will be interviewing Jason Fount, who played the Red Ranger in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers time time jump? I got my notes written down here because I'm not a huge fan of that show, so I've got to do my research. Yes, Time Force, excuse me. Also, Mega Force, Wild Force, Super Mega Force, and Ninja Steel. I'm more of a Ultraman guy. But anyway, looking forward to meeting Jason, and we hope you'll bring your questions to him. It's going to be a real good time. And thank you all out there for making this a real good time. If you're watching us on YouTube, also please leave a comment and we'll do our best to reply to you. And as always, as I make my way over to where we need to be, we want to thank Plasma Fire Graphics for sponsoring this episode. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. If you're looking for a book that'll turn an onlooker into a customer, you want to hire Plasma Fire Graphics. Jeffrey Hayes is easy to work with. He is way affordable, and he does cool books like covers like this. My latest book from Ben Books, it's a quick read crime short story called Snow Ambition, number 4 in the Snow Short series. It's real good. I'm real happy with it. So please check out Plasma Fire Graphics on Facebook. Also check out their webpage at plasmafiregraphics.com. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. Also, Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can subscribe to your favorite creators and support them financially. You can be their patron. And if you want to find out what we offer in return for your support, go to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. Also, take a screenshot of this. We have your entertainment and information all wrapped up 7 days a week on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Please check out our Facebook page, give it a like. And following this show is Stupid O'Clock, a very clever conversation show with Joe Dog McKeel and a whole bunch of really cool people. Please check that out on his YouTube channel. And I think that's it, everyone. We will be back next week with more reviews, more conversation, more laughter on Comic Book Spectrum. And as always, as I wheel towards where we're supposed to be, we appreciate you all for showing up. And we didn't have to have Greta here once, so I guess we did everything right.
How dare you!
Or maybe not. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching this show. Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum. And we'll be back next week at 7 p.m. on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. And until then, even afterwards, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. We'll see you next week on Comic Book Spectrum.
Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Please join us next week for another look at comics, past, present, and future. If you enjoyed this, please give the show a like and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To receive our free monthly newsletter, go to www.risingtide.pub and be sure to give the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook a like in order to receive news about upcoming shows, including Clever Title Pending, Stupid O'Clock, Clever as Hail, Comics Chaos and Sass, Tidbits and Scribbles, the Historical Fencing Guild, and never mind the Furthermore. See you next week.